of locations, the discovery of them, the developing of David, just you say something about the design of the film?
When I came on, you all had already looked at Tree Hill Farm. Correct?
That was the only one. We'd looked at a few farms, but it was a miracle. I think a lot of people in the room might be surprised to find out that this movie was made, it was shot on 2 different farms. The corn was on a separate, the cornfield was in a separate place. And we couldn't quite figure it out until David Crank, the genius spatial thinker that he is, called us excited one day and told us how it was going to work. And that was a really exciting day when he called us and told us that.
So I had to come up with something.
Yeah, there was no corn. Yeah. We were going to use Jimmy Dean of Jimmy Dean's Sausage. We were going to use his farm, but he liked to carry around a shotgun. So we decided not to use that one.
I did look around at some other farms because this particular farmhouse was extremely, I guess, graciously to say, decrepit. It's the ceiling.
It was toxic.
It was toxic.
It's toxic. It was the first house we looked at.
Yeah.
It had black.
The house is a character. We looked at probably 20 houses.
Yeah, we looked at
farms
ours.
that were beautiful. They were perfect. They were running water. Everything was set up. It was magic.
And it echoed real life because that spot is actually being torn down right now, and they're going to make it into suburbs. And they talked about turning that house into like the golf, the clubhouse. But you'd have to go in with hazmat uniforms because it was flying through in black mold.
And to David Crank's credit, he had just come off like a film, John Adams, with like a huge budget. I mean, huge art budget. And he came on the art film with like it was like a crew of 2.
Yeah.
He was a.
It was small, but it was.
He was like a little red hen. He did everything.
Well, we had a special favor pulled in by you and Sissy.
Yeah, he had a little helper.
I know. I went thinking, I called Sissy's husband Jack and asked him if they had. He told me they had a couple pieces of the whole building, a carpet, and like 1 or 2 things. And we sent the truck up, and we built a 24-foot truck up out of their house. Like, they don't throw anything away like I did. They actually have a barn. So
and a lot of that was your childhood furniture, right?
Well, I think a lot of it was
a mix.
your
Yeah.
furniture.
Yeah.
Everybody
it
had.
was everybody's furniture.
Well, can I just
No one was saying.
can I out you? Because the bed I was sleeping in,
Okay.
I rolled over and just being curious and opened up the nightstand, and there was her daughter Skylar's diary. You are method. You are.
I think we can give some people a chance to ask questions. I'll ask you if you could please stand up and project. I'll also repeat if anybody can't hear. Are there any questions from the audience? Yes, over there.
Yeah, where did you find that wonderful kid?
We looked through
Lisa
these.
May Finn Cannon was our cast director out of Wilmington for kids, but I have a little experience when it comes to casting kids through, and Mark Johnson does too, because we worked on the language and the wardrobe where we looked at 4,000 kids, and it taught us some lessons in a lot of kids. Because you want real kids, you don't want child actors. I mean, you got to screen the parents too. But well, I mean, you laugh, but that's true. You want to have child-driven versus parent-driven. You don't want to have the parents driving them to do it. You want the kids who really want to do it. And Colin, we knew. I mean, we actually have more than just one. We had a lot of kids in this movie.
There were,
and they were all quite talented, and we needed to have someone.
Colin was the one that stuck out the most from the very beginning. We went to down to Wilmington to meet them all, and he was the first one that came in, which was bad, because he just nailed it.
Yeah.
We had to sit through all of them. They were all great. Colin was kind of our first choice. And Kenny Hinkle, who who played Andy, who didn't know the lines in the movie. He was the second choice. He just never done anything. But
Kenny was so brave though, because he lied when we shot the death scene. It was such a cold.
He let us run over him.
Yeah. It was such a cold day. And Sissy would fit the character. And Sissy had we had these salty old farmhands. And I remember turning to one of them and he just had tears streaming down his face. He was like, it was just so sad. And then Kenny Hinkle jumps up and goes, he's alive!
The minute it was like, hey Hunter, where's my money?
That kid was a stitch. But Colin was, we knew he had to be every bit as, we knew he had to be able to go toe-to-toe with Sissy, and Troy, who were such incredible actors. And fortunately, part of being such a great actor is about giving. And Hunter and I learned a lot on this movie too, because we learned about how actors give, and sometimes that involved, you guys giving it to us too.